You are now tuning into the Resilient Podcast. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 44 of the Resilient Podcast. I am your host, Rob Aurelius. And as I said, this is episode 44, one of the final episodes of the year, because after this episode comes episode 45, and episode 45 will be the last episode of the year. 45 episodes of the Resilient Podcast. This is crazy. Next year, we will reach 50 episodes. Man. But this is episode 44. And this one is going to be emotional for me. And I'm going to tell you why. Today is Sunday. And a week ago, I was in Washington, D.C. with my friends, with people that I've known for quite some time, standing inside the Capital One Arena, watching something I never thought I've actually witnessed in person. And what I witnessed was John Cena's final match in the WWE. But, you know, not just the end of a match, but the end of a 23-year-plus career. And as I stood there, I realized I wasn't just watching a wrestler retire. I was watching the closing of a chapter that had quietly been part of my life for most of my journey. And, you know, John Cena didn't win that match. But when he tapped out in his final match, to me, personally, it didn't feel like defeat. Even though everybody on the internet was complaining, people that I know were complaining. I mean, I was personally upset that John Cena did not win his final match. But I'll tell you that it didn't feel like defeat because it felt like acceptance, like humility. It felt like a man who gave everything he had, and he knew that it was time. And I'll be honest, that moment hit me harder than I expected. And, you know, during the time that I've been doing this podcast, I've spoken to you all about like my love and passion for the WWE, you know, professional wrestling, how much it's changed my life, how much the storylines from these professional wrestlers impact me. Even though professional wrestling is a orchestrated, you know, sport, it's entertainment. These are real people, and sometimes the stories that they tell are just, it just hits you, it just hits you in the feels. This episode isn't just about wrestling. It's about legacy. It's about passion. It's about knowing when to fight and knowing when to let go. John Cena spent 23 years living by principles he never wavered from. Just like how my hat says, hustle, loyalty, and respect. But most importantly, the one quote that he always said, never give up. And no matter how loud the crowd got, no matter how much criticism he faced throughout his career, he stayed true to who he was. That's something I've been reflecting on deeply, is that John Cena, for the longest time in his career, spent years motivating people, pretty much speaking truth into things and helping people navigate through life. I remember the time that there was a young boy that had created a video to surprise John Cena, to inform him that his motivation helped him get through a very hard time in his life, which was the time where his mother was battling with breast cancer. And he kept telling his mom, John Cena says, never give up. And he kept, preaching these things to his mom, like, pretty much all the positivity that John Cena had been preaching. And this boy felt that his mom was able to overcome all of this because of the motivation that she received from her son, from John Cena, from the world, from the universe. And it was such a beautiful thing. And, in the video, you can see how choked up John Cena is, where he feels that, wow, I really made a difference in somebody's life and somebody was listening to me. And on top of that, it was a young child that was listening to me. And, all year, all of this year, I kept thinking about so many things. So many things were in my agenda. So many things were in my itinerary, my calendar. And it was, this documentary, which I will be talking to you guys about in a bit, giving you some information and some updates. But, I had so many things in my agenda. One of them was John Cena's final match. Once I got notice of where it was going to be, I said immediately, okay, I'm going to Washington, D.C. I'm going to see John Cena's final match. When it was announced by WWE that John Cena's final match was going to be in December, I just needed to get the green light. And even though in the last few months there had been some changes professionally and personally in my life, I made sure that I was able to attend this special event. And, right now, if you go on my social media, if you follow me at Rob Aurelius, or you follow my company, ARCG Media, which is right here on the bottom, my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and also my media company, ARCG Media, you will see a video that was posted yesterday that was created by Diego to recap that. What we did was that Saturday, which was last Saturday, we documented all of that. And we just put out a cool video to show people how my day was while I was out there with my friends, Justin and Henry, and spending time with Diego and other friends as well. John Glick, Mike, the Brock Lesnar guy, and other people that I met out there. And also I spent time with my friend Ron. For those of you who remember, Ron was on our podcast a few months ago, and we talked about beast mode, beast-like. I was actually right behind Ron in the Michelob Ultra Club at the Capital One Arena watching Saturday Night Main Event, which was the show that hosted John Cena's final match, the main event of the night. And, you know, folks, I can't believe that this year has gone by so quick. I can't believe that this year has just gone by just like that. You know, in March, it made a year since my ex-girlfriend and I broke up. And in August, it had made 2 years since we met. And now, you know, as November went by, it made 1 year since I created the Resilient Tribune platform. And I have been posting amazing stories. And by the way, I've decided that for the month of December, even though I had someone who had their story ready to post on the Resilient Tribune, I said to them out of respect, I said, hey, listen, I know it's the end of the year, and I know you've wanted to share your story with me for quite some time, but can you do me a favor? Can we push your story a little bit further up, maybe at some point, you know, as early as possible in 2026? And the person asked me, sure, why is that? And I said, well, because since December is the month that John Cena retired, I want to write a letter to John Cena. So I'm working on it right now, and I promise to release it before the end of the year. But I will release the final publication of the year for the Resilient Tribune, which will be a letter from myself to the legendary John Cena. Because I want John Cena to know how much his career impacted me, and his motivation, his words of wisdom, of courage, and everything impacted my life. His quotes. And speaking about quotes, I've always talked about this. There's a quote from John Cena that I've always loved, and it feels especially heavy right now. And I've shared this quote with you all numbers of times. And the quote says, passion is life. Without much passion, there isn't much life. And this is a quote that I heard John Cena say one time only, and I never heard John Cena say this quote ever, 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 ever again. And, you know, that quote isn't just something you hear and move on from. It forces you to ask yourself, am I really living with passion? Because passion is what keeps you going when things hurt. It's what keeps you showing up when giving up feels easier, you know? And it's what gives meaning to the pain, the heartbreak, and the long nights of doubt. And to me, I feel that John Cena didn't just preach passion, but, you know, he also lived it. And that's why he made such an impact in my personal life. And, you know, one thing I want to say is that John Cena, watching him walk away made me reflect on my own life. Last Saturday, when I saw him, you know, that match ended, he tapped out to Gunther. Gunther left the ring. He started bowing to everyone before a lot of the people from the WWE locker room came out to pay their respects and to give him a beautiful send off. And before he, you know, took off his shoes, his arm wristband, and left it in the ring, it made me just reflect. It made me reflect on the seasons that I have let go of the chapters that ended before I was ready. The moments where resilience wasn't about winning, but about surviving. I know that I'm feeling pretty emotional in this episode because some people don't just entertain us. Like John Cena, they remind us who we are when we're struggling to remember. So I just want to take this moment to have a Terramana toast to John Cena. John, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the years of entertainment, for everything you've done, for everything you've taught people, for all the people that you motivated, for all the make-a-wishes that you made. Thank you so much, John Cena. And I really, truly hope that you enjoy your retirement. I know that you're not leaving the WWE universe for good. I know that you will be back in some sort of a brand ambassador role for the next few years. But I know that your in-ring career is done. And even though so many people feel that there was so much more left, you told us that night that you gave us all you could. And I will remain forever thankful for that. So this Terramana toast is for you, John Cena. Salute. So, folks, we're going to go on a quick break right now. But before we do, just want to give a shout out to my people out at Nala Health. Victor, who has some of the best holistic medicine in the world and one of our proud sponsors. When you visit the website, nalahealth.com, which is right here in the middle, all holistic products on that website, you get a 10% discount with the code TRP10 just by listening to this podcast. So make sure you go on that website, nalahealth.com, CBD cream, formulas for insomnia, formulas for addiction, formulas for inflammation, which is one of my favorite ones. 10% off with my code TRP10. So make sure you check them out. And Victor, thank you so much for supporting the Resilient Podcast like you always do. Truly appreciate it. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I have some information for you regarding the Resilience Project. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, folks, welcome back to the Resilient Podcast. I am your host, Robert Alias. This is episode 44, and I have been talking to you guys this episode pretty much about John Cena. This episode is dedicated to him because I am thankful for all that he had done for the wrestling business, all he had done for WWE, everything he has done, and everything he'll continue to do for everyone. And you know, it's sad to know that his career is now over. His professional wrestling career is not over. But I look forward to everything that John Cena has left to do in this world, like all the movies and all the other opportunities that he will have now outside of the wrestling ring. It's been a week, and I really hope that he's been enjoying his week since he's retired. But this episode is not just about John Cena. This episode also marks a meaningful transition for the Resilience Project. And with any further to do, I would like to announce that what began as one story of resilience is now being told in 2 parts, which means that part 1 will premiere on YouTube on December 30th, which will be a week and a half from now, 2 days before the new year, which is a moment of reflection, closure, and honoring the journey so far. And part 2 of the Resilience Project will be released on March 21st next year, 2026. March 21st will be exactly 2 years since the breakup between myself and my ex-girlfriend. And even though that date carries weight, it carries pain, and it carries growth, and ultimately, transformation, it's just like John Cena's final match. This project is about honoring what was without being trapped by it. So Diego and I ultimately made the decision of not just telling this story in 1 hour, but dividing it into 2 parts, 30 minutes for one episode, 30 minutes for the next one. So I look forward to the release of part 1 of the Resilience Project. And the way it's going to end, trust me, everyone's going to be eager to see part 2 next year. And I look so forward to it. And, folks, I want to let you all know why this episode matters to me and why it should matter to you, because this episode is for anyone who has ever had to walk away from something they loved. This episode is for someone who has stayed true to themselves even when it wasn't popular. For someone who found strength in vulnerability, or learned that resilience sometimes means letting go with grace. And John Cena taught us that. He also taught us how to fight. But more importantly, he showed us how to walk away with dignity. And I'm truly thankful for that. I truly am. And, I have this beautiful poster, and it's not here with me. It's actually at home because I'm trying to keep it in a safe place. And it's a poster that was just signed by John Cena, and it's a poster for the Saturday Night Main Event. And I have a rally towel, which is the last towel that they made for the John Cena Farewell Tour. And it has the date, December 13th of 2025. And once I get like the best frame possible, I also have a souvenir ticket. I'm going to frame it. I'm going to put that autograph in a frame alongside with the towel on the right side or the left side, whatever. And then on the bottom, that souvenir ticket. And I can't wait to hang it up and show it to everyone eventually on my social media. But folks, while we're on that note, this is the Resilient Podcast, and I so look forward to the many episodes that are coming next year. That's why I want you to continue to support this journey, to support everything that I do. Make sure that you visit my website, TheResilientTribune.com, right here, ResilientTribune.com, where you will be in sync with all our episodes, all of our articles that are posted on the Resilient Tribune. I did mention previously that I plan to write a letter to John Cena this month, and I look forward to publishing it. It's halfway done. I actually started it on Sunday. I was already back home in New York, but don't forget to support our cause and by checking out our other partners out at For Your Wear. When you go on our website, ResilientTribune.com, click on TRP Shop, and it'll take you to where we have some merchandise, which is available to those who would like to support the podcast. We have some merch. We have some beautiful shirts for men and women, a hoodie. We also have a Resilient Podcast jacket, which is the official jacket that I wear all the time. And I'm just very emotional here, thinking that last year was the first year we started this podcast. Now we're about to end this year. And next thing you know, in April, it will be 2 years since I started the Resilience podcast. I can't believe it. I'm in shock. But on that note, I also want to give another shout out to our other sponsor, Maddie Rocks Coffee, by visiting this website here. For all of those that are coffee lovers, visit this website. Also, because you are listening to this podcast, you will receive 10% off your order. So use the same code TRP10 to receive 10% off your coffee. And folks, they make a very nice cold brew. So, this episode is coming to an end, and I decided to keep it a bit brief and as short as I could, because I just wanted to address, the situation with the Resilience Project documentary, and I was able to deliver that just a few moments ago. And, the holidays are here. Christmas is literally around the corner. Christmas is literally this week coming up. Today's Sunday. This Thursday will be Christmas. Wednesday is Christmas Eve. So the next episode will be before the year ends. And I want to take the time now to wish everyone happy holidays. And I hope you all have a great Christmas. And episode 45, we'll be talking about how my Christmas went and how I plan to end the year and looking forward to the goals for 2026. But I want to tell you all, if there's one thing I hope that you all take from this episode, it is that resilience isn't about never failing. It's about standing back up or knowing when it's time to rest. Remember that passion is life, and resilience is choosing to keep living fully. Even when a chapter ends. So please remember that. And I want to thank you all for being here with me on this journey. Today, in the cards from James, the card reads, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. People will spend their entire life trying to find themselves. But what actually really matters is creating yourself. Creating who you want to be. And in the words of WWE Hall of Famer Edge, he said, once you find out what you want to be, go be it. I knew for a long time that I wanted to be someone special. I knew that I wanted to be someone that gave back at large. So I've been creating that life for myself and for others, because that's who I want to be. That's what I want to be remembered as, someone who made a difference. And I hope that there are so many people that are listening to this podcast, watching this podcast, that have the same exact thoughts. You want to make a difference in life, a positive difference at that. I know that it's going to take a while for me to process that John Cena is no longer a professional wrestler. But the fact that I got the chance to witness him run down that aisle one more time and have a match with someone just as great in Gunther, it's going to take a while before we see someone be as gifted and talented as him. Even though there's so many gifted, talented wrestlers out there right now, like people that I admire, like Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Carmelo Hayes, Oba Femi. That guy's insane. Even Dominic Mysterio, he's cementing his legacy already. But it's going to take a while for someone to remind us of how powerful John Cena was. And it's also going to take a while for someone to break that record. John Cena is the 17-time world champion. Now you need someone who's going to break that record and become the 18th-time world champion. I don't know if I'll be around to see that. Hopefully I can. But man, this hat right here, hustle, loyalty, respect, means a lot to me. And I plan on using it as often as I can. On the days that I don't have to wear a suit, on the days that I'm not doing too much, I'm going to walk around with this hat to honor hustle, loyalty, and respect. It's the only John Cena hat that I have, and it's probably the only John Cena hat I'll ever have. And maybe someday I can pass it down to someone special. Folks, this is all I got for episode 44. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Again, happy holidays. I truly appreciate all the love and support. And I also look forward to seeing you all in episode 45. But remember to always remain resilient in life. And I'll see you all in the next episode. This is Robert Aurelius, episode 44 of the Resilient Podcast. I look forward to so many beautiful things. But for now, all I have to say is God bless, happy holidays, and peace.